The galaxy was vast, filled with stars, planets, and countless civilizations. For thousands of years, the ancient races had watched new species rise and fall. Some burned brightly and then disappeared into silence, while others learned to live in balance with the stars. But among the younger civilizations, there was one that puzzled everyone: humanity. Humans were strange. They were fragile compared to most species, with short lives and bodies that seemed weak in the cold, endless void of space. Yet they had spread across their home system and beyond at a speed no one had expected. Within a few centuries, they had gone from fragile colonies on their moon to sprawling cities on Mars, then leapt into faster-than-light travel. To the Alien Council, this was astonishing. Many of the elder races had taken thousands of years to reach the same stage. Because of this, the Council decided to call a great gathering. It would take place on a neutral space station, built above a silent star that had no planets, no life, and no distractions. Representatives from dozens of worlds arrived. The insectoid Kishar came in their shimmering chitin armor. The crystalline Yllari sparkled with light refracted through their bodies, and the giant reptilian Valdric stomped with heavy steps as they entered the hall. The humans arrived last. Their ships were not the largest nor the most elegant. In fact, compared to the sleek designs of other civilizations, the human vessels looked rough, patched with layers of armor and technology that seemed borrowed from many different sources. Still, when the human ambassador entered, there was no sign of nervousness. She walked with calm confidence, her uniform simple, her eyes steady. The meeting began with formal greetings, and soon the talk turned serious. A new threat had appeared on the edge of the galaxy. They were not a natural race but a machine swarm, vast fleets of automated marauders that stripped entire worlds of resources. Colonies on the edge of known space had already been lost. Survivors told stories of endless waves of metallic predators, ships without fear, without mercy. The alien leaders argued for hours. The Kishar wanted to hide and strengthen their homeworlds. The Yllari believed they should send scientists to study the machines before taking action. The Valdric wanted to fight but demanded that the younger species, including humans, take the front lines. Through it all, the humans remained quiet. They listened as the ancient races debated, their voices filled with fear and hesitation. Finally, when the council seemed ready to break apart, the human ambassador stood. "We will go," she said simply. The hall grew silent. Alien eyes, crystals, and antennae all turned toward her. "You humans are young," hissed a Kishar delegate. "Your fleets are small. You do not know the cost of war." The ambassador's voice was calm. "We know the cost. We have paid it many times in our history, but we will not stand aside while innocents are destroyed. If no one else will act, humanity will." Murmurs swept through the chamber. Some aliens looked impressed, others horrified. A Yllari delegate whispered, "They do not even understand what they face." But the decision was made. The council, unwilling to risk their own fleets, agreed to let the humans take the first strike. They would provide observation ships, standing far from danger, to watch and learn how humans fought. Some of them hoped the humans would succeed. Others expected them to fail, teaching the council how hopeless resistance truly was. Soon after, the humans prepared their fleet. It was small compared to the machines, only a few dozen capital ships and hundreds of smaller escorts. Yet every vessel was crewed by men and women who had volunteered, not because they expected glory, but because they refused to let the machines advance unopposed. From the observation decks of the neutral station, the alien delegates watched the humans depart. To many of them, it seemed like a funeral procession. "They are brave," one alien muttered, "but bravery is not enough." Others shook their heads. "They are reckless. They will be destroyed and the machines will grow stronger." But a few said nothing at all. They only stared at the departing human fleet, wondering what kind of people would stand against a storm when all others chose to run. Days later, the fleets reached the battlefield, a quiet star system where the machines had already begun devouring a gas giant's moons. Metallic structures swarmed in orbit, harvesting, building, and preparing for their next assault. The human ships entered formation. On the far side of the system, hidden behind sensor masks, the alien observers waited. They had come to see what humanity was truly made of. Some expected tragedy, others spectacle. None of them were ready for what was about to unfold, for in the silence of the void, as the two sides prepared for war, the humans began to sing. Their voices, carried over encrypted channels, echoed through their own ships, Songs of courage, songs of remembrance, songs of defiance. The alien observers tapping into the transmissions were shocked. No other species sang before battle. To the aliens, war was duty or survival, but to humans it was also something more. It was memory. It was unity. The alien delegates shifted uncomfortably. Some felt admiration. Others felt dread. And so the stage was set. The humans were ready to fight. The machines stirred, detecting prey. The aliens, hidden in the shadows, prepared to witness history. None of them knew that what they were about to see would change the galaxy forever. The void of space grew tense as two fleets faced one another. On one side, the machines spread out in vast numbers. Their ships were dark, jagged, and cold, built for only one purpose: destruction. They had no symbols, no banners, no voices. They were a swarm of silent predators, each linked to the others by perfect, merciless logic. On the other side, the human fleet waited. Their ships were smaller, their numbers fewer, and their technology less advanced. But each vessel was alive with human presence. Voices on the comms, officers giving orders, and crews making last-minute checks with nervous determination. From afar, the alien observers watched. Dozens of species sat in hidden stations and cloaked ships, their eyes fixed on the scene. Many of them whispered predictions. "They will break in minutes," a Yalari delegate said, their crystal body dimming with doubt. "They are too reckless," a Kashar added, clicking its mandibles. "Their courage will only feed the swarm," but a few remained silent. They had begun to sense something unusual about humanity, something the numbers and statistics did not show. The human admiral, standing on the bridge of the flagship Resolute Dawn, gave the order, "All ships, advance." The fleet surged forward. Engines flared and formation shifted with precision. They did not move like a disorganized swarm, nor did they act like cold machines. Instead, they fought like a single living body, each part working in harmony with the others. The machines responded instantly. The swarm opened fire with bright beams and endless streams of projectiles. Space itself lit up with destruction. The first wave of human escorts was torn apart, their hulls breaking into fire and debris. Alien observers leaned forward, expecting panic. But there was no panic. Instead, human voices rang out over the fleet channels. Calm, steady commands, warnings and counter-orders. Ships that survived shifted position, covering the gaps left by their fallen allies. The Admiral's voice came again. "Hold the line. Push forward." The humans advanced through fire. Alien delegates could not understand it. Most species would retreat after such losses, regrouping or fleeing to safety. But the humans pressed on. Their smaller ships darted between machine lines, harassing, distracting, forcing the enemy to divide its focus. Their heavier cruisers advanced steadily, drawing enemy fire so their allies could strike. "Why do they not break?" a Valdric warrior growled, slamming its clawed hand on the table. "No one fights like this," the Yalari delegate whispered. "They fight as if they expect to die." And yet the humans did not fight to die, they fought to win. The machine swarm adapted as it always did. Their lines shifted, trying to encircle the humans. But the Admiral had anticipated this. She ordered her ships into a spear formation, punching through the center of the swarm. The aliens watching gasped as the humans split the enemy fleet in half. Explosions filled the void. Human torpedoes found their marks. Fighters swarmed out of carriers, weaving between enemy cannons, striking weak points the machines had not thought to protect. Still, the cost was heavy. Entire human squadrons were wiped out. The Iron Wind, a heavy cruiser, took 3 direct hits and erupted into fire. Its crew did not abandon ship. Instead, they aimed their burning vessel at the nearest machine dreadnought and rammed it, tearing both ships apart in a single explosion. The alien observers recoiled in shock. "That is not strategy," a Kishar hissed. "That is madness." "No," a Valdric whispered slowly. "That is willpower." For the first time, many of the elder races realized the difference between humans and themselves. The machines fought with perfect logic, cold and efficient. The elder races fought with caution, unwilling to pay high costs. But humans, they fought with something else. They fought with a fire that refused to go out no matter the odds. Hours passed and the battle raged on. Human ships took damage after damage, yet still they pressed forward. Whenever one vessel fell, 2 others shifted to cover its loss. Crews sacrificed themselves not for orders, but for one another. On the observation deck, silence filled the alien council chamber. One by one, the delegates began to understand what they were seeing. "Do you see?" whispered a quiet voice among them. "They fight not as individuals, not even as a fleet. They fight as a family." Then came the turning point. The machine swarm's command vessel, a massive spiked fortress drifting in the center of the fleet, finally revealed itself. Its weapons were powerful enough to tear through human shields with a single strike. The admiral knew the battle could not be won while it still stood. The human fleet shifted again. They formed a trap. Half the ships pulled back, drawing the machines toward a nearby gravity well. The others circled wide, cutting off escape routes. The aliens watching leaned forward in disbelief. "They cannot be doing what I think they are doing," a Yalari gasped. The humans launched their final strike. Dozens of ships dove toward the command vessel. They knew many would not return, but they did not hesitate. Torpedoes slammed into its armor. Fighters tore at its defenses. The resolute Dawn itself was struck again and again, its shields burning out, but it did not fall back. Finally, in one coordinated push, the humans forced the command vessel too close to the gravity well. Engines flared, and gravity's pull began to drag the massive machine fortress downward. It struggled, firing wildly, destroying more human ships in its fury. But the humans did not stop. With one last barrage, the admiral gave the order. "All guns, fire." The human fleet unleashed everything it had. Torpedoes, railguns, beams, all struck at once. The machine command vessel cracked, then broke apart, and then it was gone, consumed by the star's gravity. A shock wave rippled through the swarm. Without their command ship, the machines faltered, their perfect coordination collapsing. The battle was not over, but it was won. The humans had broken the unbreakable. In the silence that followed, the alien council sat frozen. Some could not believe what they had seen. Others trembled with fear. The Yalari delegate spoke softly, almost in awe. They fight like no one else." The Valdric warrior growled with respect. "No, they fight like humans." And somewhere deep inside, every alien present understood the truth. Humanity was not just another young species. Humanity was something new, something dangerous, something unstoppable. The battlefield was silent. Where moments before there had been fire, light, and destruction, now there was only drifting wreckage. The machine swarm, once endless and terrifying, was broken. Pieces of shattered hulls spun in the void, glowing faintly from the heat of battle. Human ships floated among them, scarred and battered, many of them smoking, many more completely gone. From their hidden stations, the alien observers watched in stunned silence. None of them had expected this. The humans had been outnumbered, outgunned, and far less advanced. By all logic, they should have been destroyed. Yet here they stood, bloodied but victorious. Inside the human flagship Resolute Dawn, the atmosphere was heavy. The bridge was filled with the sound of damage reports. Officers worked quickly, some with bandages on their heads or arms, refusing to leave their posts. Sparks fell from shattered panels and screens flickered with broken signals. The admiral stood tall despite her exhaustion. Her uniform was torn at the shoulder, and her face carried lines of strain, but her eyes were steady. She looked over the battlefield, at the debris of friend and foe alike, and then gave her order in a voice that was calm and unshaken. "Search for survivors, human and alien alike. No one is left behind." Her officers saluted and carried out the command. As rescue ships moved across the wreckage, the alien observers watched even more closely. They saw humans pulling injured comrades from burning decks. They saw human medics tending even to the wounded of other species who had been captured by the machines. They saw crews risking their own lives to retrieve escape pods drifting dangerously close to the gravity well. The council chamber, filled with delegates from dozens of civilizations, was quiet. Then one of the Yalari spoke in a soft, almost trembling voice. They fight so fiercely, but they do not abandon compassion, even in victory." The Valdric warrior beside her rumbled in agreement. "They are dangerous, yes, but they are also loyal. They protect even when it costs them everything." Not all agreed. A Kashar delegate clicked its mandibles nervously. "If they can defeat the swarm with such fury, what will they do when they turn their strength on us? What if humanity becomes an enemy one day?" The question hung in the air. Many of the older races had ruled through fear, using power to keep others in line. They looked at humanity now and saw not just bravery, but a force that could one day challenge even the ancients themselves. Back on the human flagship, the Admiral called for a direct communication with the Council. Her tired face appeared on their screens. Around her, smoke drifted through the bridge and faint sparks glowed. Yet her voice was strong. To the Council, she said, "You asked us to fight, and we have fought. But understand this, humanity does not seek war. We do not go to battle for conquest or glory. We go to battle because we must protect those we love. We fight for our homes, our families, and for any who cannot defend themselves." She paused, her eyes sweeping across the watching aliens. "If you stand with us, we will stand with you. If you turn away, we will still stand for our own. But do not mistake our kindness for weakness. When pushed, humanity will endure any pain, pay any cost, to defend what we cherish." The chamber fell silent once again. Every delegate felt the weight of her words. The Yalari delegate bent its crystal body in a respectful bow. Perhaps this is what we have forgotten. Not fear, not cold survival, but the fire that comes from caring. A Valdric warrior pounded his chest in salute. "Your people have earned honor this day. If the machines return, my fleets will fight beside yours." Even some of the Kashar, who had been filled with suspicion, clicked their mandibles more softly. They did not trust humans yet, but they understood them a little better now. The Admiral gave no further speech. She simply nodded once and ended the call. Her fleet had work to do. In the following days, the galaxy changed. Reports of the battle spread faster than any official order could stop. Traders whispered of human courage. Colonists on distant worlds spoke of how the machines had finally been defeated. Soldiers in other fleets asked why their own commanders had hidden while the humans bled for everyone else. The elder races could no longer dismiss humanity as reckless children. They had seen something none of them had expected. A people who combined the brilliance of strategy with the power of sacrifice, who could mourn the dead while still pushing forward, who could fight with savage intensity, yet show mercy when victory was won. Historians recorded the words spoken in the council chamber that day. A Yalari scribe wrote the final line that would echo for centuries. "Humans do not go to battle for conquest. They go to battle for each other, and that is why they are feared." Back on Earth, when the Admiral returned, crowds gathered to honor the fallen. Families wept, but they also stood tall, proud of what their people had achieved. Humanity had stepped into the wider galaxy not just as explorers, but as protectors. And among the alien races, a new thought began to take root. Some saw humanity as a threat, others as allies, but all of them knew this truth. If the galaxy ever faced darkness again, the humans would not run. They would be there, standing at the front, ready to fight, not because they loved war, but because they loved life. For the first time in many centuries, the elder races felt something they had nearly forgotten: hope.